I'm Scott Shulman, VP of Client Development at Basis Technologies. I'm really happy to be here with these two esteemed colleagues next to me. But before I say that, another three World Trade Center tenant, Vivix, reported that in June, for the first time, CTV topped 1 billion among platforms tracked by Vivix, quote, validating the projection that CTV's ascendancy from experimental to table stakes medium. So during our time, we're just going to be sharing some strategies that you could be potentially implementing, learning from, to learn how to maximize the efficacy of your CTV investments. So before I introduce these two gentlemen, I want to point over here to the Slido. We're going to be taking QA at the end, so please feel free to share any questions. Everything will be anonymous, so you could really sneak some good ones in there. So first, let me introduce Tom McKenna, who is the SVP of Global Head of Media and Marketing Operations at Audible, a leader in original spoken word entertainment and audiobooks. At Audible, since 2017, Tom is responsible for driving efficient global member growth, leveraging all aspects of awareness and acquisition media. Please welcome Tom.
Hey everyone.
Awesome. And next is one of our hosts, Adam Arnegger, an experienced and strategic leader in media, entertainment, news, and advertising industry at Wavemaker. As managing partner and executive investment director, he is respected for driving collaboration and innovation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, I think we should say thank you for having us. So, quick icebreaker. I know we didn't do these before, but fireside chats are a little less formal. So, on this last day of November, I want to ask you, what is one favorite holiday movie that you will be watching in December?
Don't steal mine.
Sounds about that. I should go first. I can go first, just in case. Elf. So Elf is my movie.
Yeah. Applause for Elf? Come on. We know what he likes. Will Ferrell eating gum.
My favorite scene
Is?
Zoe Deschanel singing in the. Was this wrong? But singing in the bathroom. You hear her.
No,
And he's sitting outside, and she's singing, and he's singing, and then she realizes, wait a second.
It is one of the most endearing moments of holiday movies.
So I believe Elf is 25 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yes, I was thinking you stole mine.
Did I? See, I'm glad I went first.
You are the client, so you should go first.
I love it.
Okay, I'll wait. That,
I like Elf.
okay, that is a great one. I'll go on the opposite end of the spectrum and say Krampus for all the other. Thank you. We have some sardonic people like me here. I love it. So, well, happy holidays, everyone. So, Tom, tell me a little bit about what Audible does.
Yeah, so Audible's interesting. So we're a premium storytelling company. We have, a creator, a producer. We provide audiobooks, podcasts, originals. We've been doing this since 1997, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. We started the very first media player before iPods even existed, before smartphones were smartphones, right? So we needed a way to actually deploy our content. So that was the way we did it. We created that. Once those devices came out, we didn't need that anymore. But we have 180 countries around the world, 47 different languages, 800,000 titles across everything that we distribute. It's just really exciting. This piece of content for everyone. And the way I think about this is when your eyes are busy, but your ears are free. So people commuting, people watching shows, gardening, cooking, like doing things while they have extra free time. That's kind of where they spend that. And we find a lot of people using use cases for that across Audible. I'll say this content for everyone. I just finished a book called Starter Villain, which is, I'm a big John Scalzi fan, and if you guys know Will Wheaton, he's the narrator for that, and it's awesome. It's about a guy who inherits a villain-based business that's run by a cat. So you might want to see it. That's good.
It's always cats.
Always cats.
Any other titles?
I'm big on words and music. I don't know. We also have this section called, it's like the background stories for people who are what got them into their career, what made them come up with those songs, why are they doing that? And it's really cool to know the backstory. I listened to Snoop Dogg. It's From the Streets to the Sweets. And I love Snoop Dogg, so for me, that would be my opening walk-on song. But
Nice.
something with Snoop Dogg.
Cats and dogs already. The first question.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I love that. So, given the nature of Audible's content delivery through audio, how do you work together, you and Adam, to tailor media strategies that effectively reach and engage your target audience?
So I guess the first thing to say is, Wavemaker's our agency, right? So it's great to be with friends and family, and they're on our business now for a little over a year, and we've been onboarding the process and changing things and doing a lot of work globally. But because we're an audio-based company, it doesn't mean we're just audio-based in everything that we do. So we're just like everybody else. We look at a media mix. We start from the ground up. We have performance-based plans with paid social and paid search and MAI, and there's consideration layers. And then as you bring your way up to the top, we want to feed that funnel. So we do that through a number of different tactics, whether it's out-of-home, where's that? I just did it before. There we go. Whether it's out-of-home, whether it's radio, streaming audio, but even in the video space to kind of feed that funnel and bring it in, which is kind of what we're talking about today. Linear, but then also connected TV, and it continues to increase because of all the benefits that it has for us. It's really helpful and beneficial.
It's interesting, when we first sat down to do this little talk, Tom and I were rapping about our early days in media and how we have lived the digital transformation. And when we first got in, it was all about how many GRPs you could get. 600 a week. We both kind of worked in telecom early on, and to see the evolution of how we've transformed media, and I think what we have done here at Wavemaker is gone from a broad brand play to awareness play to really lower funnel performance, and driving that audience really down to even a zip code level if we could, and that's driven efficiency. As well as the targetability of doing that via an audience-based approach. Wavemaker and certainly at GroupM, we believe in an audience-first approach across everything we do, even in the linear space.
And it's all connected, like you're saying, that all the way through the bottom of the funnel. Everything that we do, we're grounded. We're an audiobook company, right? So our goal is to get people in the door on a piece of content, right? But the content that I like is different than the content that you like, and else, right? So you have to find the right piece of content. So CTV works well for us in that because we can kind of play around with that a bit. But everything that we do is connected all the way through to the bottom of the funnel, and we track everything. We track performance end to end. So it's a great business to be in.
The ability to retarget across all of the tactics that we do has really driven performance. So certainly getting people on their mobile device, being able to retarget them, driving that audience. And, Tom's business, different titles come out each quarter, and we're able to find those audiences. So, for example, first quarter last year was wellness, and we were able to go after that wellness target, and then test and learn. So we knew that we could pinpoint those wellness consumers, but then figured out, hey, they were also into sustainability. So we were able to broaden that audience out. So we're able to do a lot of test and learn. And by driving efficiency from linear to television, that cost savings allows us to be able to test. So whether that's testing Netflix or testing sports, etc. So we've been able to drive that efficiency and find new audiences.
Yeah, that's the third time we've heard in as many panels that testing and learning is pivotal for growth. I think we can all agree on that, and I wish every marketer remember that during budgeting season. So thank you. Next question. How do you adapt media strategies to the evolving user behavior and considering factors like those consumption trends that you were just discussing and those audiobook preferences that you were referencing before?
Yeah, so this is interesting too, because it's all about the customer. We need to follow the consumer, know what they're doing, but it's not just the ones who are customers on our side, it's also the prospects and what they're doing beforehand. So it's not just consumption habits, it's listening habits, it's behaviors, it's industry trends, like what's happened, like CTV, the increases that we've been seeing. Like, it's looking at everything holistically, because they all matter, and they all matter for different reasons. And I'll explain this, like, if I follow the listening behavior of Audible, where are people listening most? Like commuting, we were talking about before. Who has a long commute? You know, if you're commuting for like an hour or 2 hours, it's a great place to listen. It's a terrible place to convert, right? So I used to work at Verizon, by the way. So don't text and drive. It's really bad. But when you're driving, you're not going to get someone to sign up for Audible while they're driving their car, while they're commuting, right? You know, download the app. You know, hey, log in, put in your profile. You're an Amazon customer. Pick your first title, download it, put your credit card. No, it just doesn't work while you're commuting. So while the listening behavior tells you this is the place that you want to be, that's not where you want to convert people. So you have to think about different strategies to actually do that.
And it's sometimes we end up complicating what we do, but in a lot of cases it's just fish where the fish are biting, and I think we're following the consumer, even in how we're purchasing that media. This year, for the first time, GroupM, we ended up breaking our deals with our streaming partners before the big five, and so that was a first. So the Netflix, the Roku's, etc. Those were businesses that we broke upfront deals with before the rest of the marketplace.
That's some great innovation right there. Speaking of innovation and creative, which you were discussing before, can you share some examples of some of the video formats or placements that have been particularly successful, and how do you ensure that they align with the brand?
Yeah, so full disclosure, Audible is part of Amazon. So we were acquired back in 2008. So I'm going to talk a little bit about
I'm glad you said it. I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah, it is. No, it's good. It's really good. Like, it's great being part of that family, right? Because we have access to things that we necessarily wouldn't always get. But this was not something we got. We had to invest in this. But we supported Thursday Night Football last year. So if you have any football fans, Thursday night, they're huge, right? So this is the opportunity for us. Last year during fourth quarter, we went in and did a takeover, right? It was a sponsorship completely. We had sports desk, logos, so it was a lot of branding work there. We did a bunch of elements for, it's called Prime Stories, if you watched last year. I don't know if they're doing it. I haven't watched as many games this year, but it's about the story for what players were doing as they were leading up to the Thursday night game. So we're about storytelling. It was a natural fit. I connected those dots together. And then running spots, right? So we had a bunch of spots, and all the commercials that we ran, we tried different things. We wanted to see what worked. And we did some custom spots. Michael Strahan, we ran that with games where it was relevant for his former team, right? We did a lot of those things. Russell Wilson was another one. We did a bunch of other elements with music. So post game, they had some concerts that were running. So we aligned some of our words and music spots. I was talking about Snoop Dogg before. We had John Legend, and we also had something called Origins, which is with Doja Cat. So we used this in post game because it made a lot of sense to align contextually with the content that we were playing with. But we got to have a lot of fun with some of these things. So one of the announcers was Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's still doing that in the desk, and it's just so cool to watch him. You're the guy, the big
It's magic.
Yeah,
it's eight teams, a lot of local markets.
Awesome.
Yeah,
He's
Harvard.
just such a good person, right? And we did something called Call an Audible, which felt kind of natural for who we are. So we wanted to play around with him a little bit and see what he'd be game to do. And he's known for his flashy way he dresses and all his different clothes that he wears. And we said, is there any way we can kind of flex that a little bit and have some fun? And he was game. And he said, listen, I'll do it. So what inspires him to wear the clothes that he wears every day? It turns out it's Audible, which is really cool. So I think we have a spot.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we only had a spot for Sight, Sound, and Motion.
I think so this is the 60, just for context for everyone. We have a 30, but this one's a lot more fun, so why bring the 30?
Retired quarterback and analyst Ryan Fitzpatrick's rise as a fashion icon has us asking, what inspires Fitzmagic?
Fashion has always come easy to me. Then I transitioned to television, and the fashion critics said, play it safe, no bright colors, no chest hair, so I decided to call an Audible. I chose to give the fans what they really wanted and let Fitzmagic fly. Because when I'm around beautiful garments, I'm not creating a look or a style, I'm telling a story. Does that make me an icon? If an icon has great style, inspires the world, and people love him for it, then sure. My inspiration, it's everywhere. People I meet on vacation, a weekend spent at the Lumberjack, London's sprawling underworld. There's really no limit when it comes to inspiration. You just have to be listening.
Wow, I love that. And now I have a lot of new ideas for my holiday shopping list. So thanks, Brian.
It's fun. Let me tell you, what came out of that, people were asking, are those really his clothes? No, it was a wardrobe. But he was game, and he had a lot of fun doing it. You know, he wanted to do more, and I kept asking the team, he's not here, but Kerry Niles runs creative. I'm like, there's got to be some outtakes to this. He's like, he wouldn't let us use them. But I wanted to see them so bad. I'm like, this is so much fun.
That would have been funny.
So I'm taking this. This was pre-Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift relationship. Is that right?
Completely.
Okay. Would have liked to see that too. Okay. Were there any other more recent developments that were a little counterintuitive, that were maybe driven by the data?
Completely. And this is one that is as brand new as can possibly be. I saw Ronnie earlier today. I don't know if Ronnie's still here, but he might have left. But this was really grown from a collaboration of Wavemaker and Audible and a bunch of folks from Google as we're trying to play around with some insights, right? So from the production with Paul and Audible, that's very like studio heavy and very focused on the set. This was something a little bit different. It was looking at insights in behavior and who's coming into Audible. We started to see a lot of people pop for romance, and this is over the last several months, more so than we normally would see. So some of the titles, some of the insights, some of the behaviors were driving that. But we said, what can we do with this to have a little bit more fun? And it all started from this idea. It was a CTV idea, and then we did some extensions in social. This just went live last week, and it's a romance spot, and it's called Audible Book Club. I'm just going to say that right there, and I'll stop. We'll play the spot for a second. I want you to take a look at it.
Just quickly, I think, as you said, we took the insights from the audiences that we were able to find. And then we looked for extensions, and this is kind of one of those extensions, which was not really what we thought it was going to be.
Completely. Yeah, this is not, usually we run spots that are broadly focused. Yes, they're targeted, but it has a lot of more meat. This is a very niche audience, and the intent behind this was to really get into a segmentation that we've never spoke to before.
And as the team looked at the data, and we were going like, I think we should look at it again. And when you see the spot, you'll understand why.
Once a week, we get together to discuss the latest romance titles on Audible.
And what is that an example of?
Toxic masculinity.
My hope is that listening to romance will help these guys with their love lives.
All my raw feelings just went away.
They're happily ever after. It's just so perfect.
To be honest, we were overdue for a good cry.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
For things that are not your fault. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Chapter 6.
Romance on Audible.
Proceed with passion.
Different.
So as you can see, the audience was male, and that was an insight that we delineated from the data, and the team and the collaboration with Audible, we were able to develop that spot. Wavemaker didn't, but the data drove the creative insight, which is something that I think is unique in certain cases. And I think we should be doing more as an industry, having creative be data driven.
Yeah, and that built on the capabilities with CTV, because that's where we're using this. Just being able to lean in on all the targets that we want to speak to get to these exact people. It's not a demo in buying it with linear TV. Nothing against linear. Linear has its place, but in this instance, it was like we need to hone in and really hit demo plus this particular audience group who likes audiobooks and into romance. Like it's just so cool to kind of see that work. Stats are going like this for males interested in romance. Kind of cool.
Yeah, you keep mentioning traditional, so I feel like being an analog and a digital person, I'm really curious as to how you strike the balance between effective traditional as well as digital video.
Yeah, it's just part of what we do every day. I mean, our business is highly grounded in driving signups. We're a subscription business, so everything we do starts with the foundation of signups. But we always want to bring new audiences in. So whether it's traditional, whether it's digital, whether it's leveraging everything that's around, we really want to follow the consumers where they are. So it doesn't matter what the tactic is, but in general, we try to balance the age. We try to go younger. Digital tends to do that for us a little bit more than some of the traditional focuses. But there's a place for everything.
Yeah, and I think when we won this business, we looked at the media mix, and we saw that linear to digital was really 50-50, maybe 60-40 in terms of linear, and an older demographic, and maybe 50 plus. Well, in speaking with Tom and his teams, we have that audience, that 50 plus audience we have. So, let's look at a younger audience. So we pivoted and went to an 18 to 34-year-old audience. And again, fish where the fish are biting, moving into that digital premium online video space and becoming less, brand-oriented and more performance-oriented. We were able to shift the media mix, and really now we're 90-10 digital to linear. There is still a place on the plan for linear. We're not here bashing linear, but we have to have that mix. And certainly for a performance-driven client like Audible, getting people to sign up, this made perfect sense for us, and it has performed very well. And by targeting different audiences by quarter for the titles that are coming out, it's been a home run for us.
I think just to build on that, just even the CTV work that we're talking about here, that's why we made this transition. It's increasing upper funnel, driving awareness, but doing it in a way that it's trackable, it's measurable. Like we can do a lot more within the budget that we have. With the audiobook space, excuse me, the challenge has become content that's going to launch in January. It may not launch in January. It might launch in August. It might, it slides. It's challenging, right? So when you buy in linear and you're stuck with a buy that may be perfect what you originally started with, but then all of a sudden later on slides and now you have a male skew target, or you needed a female skew target. It's very different. But we can pivot very easily with connected TV because of the targeting capabilities, which is phenomenal.
Flexibility. And in today's day and age, we certainly need that. And to the point where we're pushing, the linear companies for that flexibility. And I think we'll see an evolution over the next year or so to get more flexibility, out of those companies. But sometimes with your business, we have to pivot, and we're able to do that within the premium online video space and CTV. And certainly, I keep talking about audiences. We are able to shift those audiences, as well. So, I think that's been a big part of the shift.
It made me think of something else here too, because it's traditional and digital, but it's also about the ability for us to test and learn, right? So, in the traditional sense, Amazon's very big on testing. So when we look at what happens, we have to do a holdout test. You go into a market, you turn a local DMA off, or you try to replicate what you're buying nationally, you try to buy it locally. It's never the same. You can't buy local cable the same way you buy national cable. It just doesn't really work out, and your reading those results are a little bit more challenging. But with this, with CTV, we're able to go in and do 10% holdout impressions, or test creative A versus creative B, or have a different variant of that creative and see what actually happens. Like if we change the ending of that spot, what would actually happen. So that's the benefit for us here. And it's done in a place that is also brand safe and compliant, which is cool.
Yeah, I think the copy testing is something that's very interesting. It's very difficult to do on a linear level. With CTV and premium online video, we're able to suppress markets very easily to test those pieces of creative, because of how the digital nature of the product, and that has certainly helped our test and learn on a creative level.
That's really incredible that Audible and Wavemaker have that much trust in data and are actually actioning on it to drive incrementality for the brand.
It comes down to good collaboration too. I mean, this is a great team, and we love working with you guys. So it does work together. I look at it's not an agency; it's an extension of our team. That's how this stuff works.
I'd certainly like to take credit for the Wavemaker work, but Ronnie and the team, he stepped out, but Ronnie really leads the team and has done a good job in that collaboration. Okay,
I see that we are coming up on time, and we have some bangers here in the Slido. So a little fun one. Call back to the earlier Snoop Dogg comment. Tom, what is your favorite Snoop Dogg song? Or Adam.
Adam's not going to start now.
Probably because that's the only one I know, Gin and
There's
Juice.
so much drama in the LB scene. It's really hard being a Snoop Dogg LG.
That's like a
Some way. Keep on coming.
Full transparency,
Yeah.
I'm a country music guy.
Okay, I'll go with a deep cut serial killer. Okay. Back to the business. How does Audible stand out as a marketer, and what is your core differentiator that makes you special?
I think how we stand out as a marketer. We created this space. Audiobooks didn't exist prior, and now it doesn't mean anything from 1997 to now for people who are listening now. But we've always evolved and evolved and re-evolved in this space. Like before, there was a MP3 player or an iPod. We had to develop a device to actually listen to audiobooks. Right? And we don't want to be in that space clearly, but that was something that happened before. But we're constantly evolving, so I think that's how we stand out. We have the largest catalog. I started talking about that before. Over 800,000 titles. There's something for everyone, so it's really a differentiator.
They're the leader in the market, and I think that says a lot about the evolution, how we evolve with them, and how we test and learn. We talked about that earlier. Test and learn, test and learn. We're not going to just sit on the strategies and the tactics that we're doing. We're always constantly looking for the next thing, for us to partner with them on.
That is our time. I want to thank Adam and Tom so much for the insights, sharing everything, and of course, brand Innovators.
Thank you.